Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Dear viewers, welcome to a new episode of The Quran and Science. I'm your host, Tamer Mumtaz, welcoming our dear professor, Dr. Al-Naggar, head of Committee on Scientific Facts in the Glorious Quran, and our guests, Brother Fuad and Brother Mustafa. And this episode will be talking about sustenance from the sky. And before we continue, we'll hear a recitation, Surah Al-Dhariyat, verses number 22.
وفي السماء رزقكم وما توعدون.
In heaven is your sustenance, and all that you are promised.
Professor Zaghlul, talk to us about sustenance from the sky.
Yes. In the name of Allah, the most compassionate, most merciful, I greet you all in our Islamic way. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaykum assalam.
May Allah's peace, blessings, and mercy be with you all. In this verse, the Quran reads, وَفِي السَّمَاءِ رِزْقُكُمْ وَمَا تُعَدُونَ. And in the sky is definitely your sustenance and what you are promised. And of course the Arabs, once they listened to this verse, they said the most important thing that comes down to us from sky is rain. So they said rain is the sustenance. What's meant by your sustenance is rain. Because without rain, particularly in a desert, you see nothing could exist. Yes. But some authors said, no, it's not only rain, but also the divine decree to divide rizq between people, by the sustenance between people, which is absolutely correct. And this is a really beautiful example of how the Quranic verse comes in a few words, and every generation can see something in these few words, and these meanings can expand with time, with integration, without contradiction. Nowadays we know that all the elements we need for life are actually created in the sky, because all the stars are huge nuclear reactors where Allah is creating every element we know of by the process of nuclear fusion. So all what you think of the elements are created within the stars. The process of nuclear fusion can go on until it reaches iron. The process of nuclear fusion is exothermic, and that's why it radiates energy. But when it reaches iron, it becomes endothermic. It consumes energy.
Absorbs energy.
And as the core of the star changes into iron, and this only happens in the supergiants, in the huge stars. Our sun does not generate iron at all, but iron is generated in the cores of supergiant stars. And only at a particular phase in their life history, which is known as the supernova, when it explodes. And when the core of the star changes into iron, it consumes the energy of the star. And that's why this core starts to explode and is scattered in outer space. Outer space is full of the elementary particles. So elements heavier than iron can catch elementary particles in outer space and change by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to elements with higher atomic weight. And that's why we can see that everything we need is actually being created in the sky. Iron, copper, lead and zinc, gold, silver, platinum, uranium, you name it, is all created either within the stars, the supergiant stars, or in outer space, and Allah sends it down in the right proportions.
But Professor, how is this carried from outer space to our land?
By the explosion of these heavenly bodies.
Yeah, that was done before, yani, long time ago, because now we excavate, we mine for
yes,
copper.
But this was sent down because we said earlier that our earth started as a heap of ash.
Yes.
Heap of ash containing nothing, more than silicon aluminum. And then it was bombarded by these heavy element meteoric bodies, mainly iron. And by this bombardment, it created excessive temperatures that caused the heap of ash to fuse, to melt, and the iron also to melt, and to be differentiated into the several spheres of the earth.
Yes.
A solid inner core mainly composed of iron and nickel, an outer molten core mainly composed of iron and nickel, 4 layers of mantle in which iron decreases gradually as you go up, and the outer rocky cover of the earth, which has only 5.6% of iron.
So it's sending down.
I
The
beg
the process of sending down the
Yes.
iron, the nickel, and so forth, copper,
Yes.
is it present today or not?
Oh, still going on.
In what form? Because, for example, I've never seen
and
iron
the
coming
form-
from the sky.
This is by the grace of Allah, because every day we get some meteoric bodies coming down from the sky to earth. And actually it's a process of enriching the earth. You see, the earth can receive up to 1 to 2 million tons of iron annually.
Wow.
Annually. 1 million to 2 million tons of iron. And of course we can receive other things too. So the process of enriching the earth from sky justifies this beautiful verse
SubhanAllah.
where Allah says, وَفي السَّمَاءِ رِزْقُكُمْ وَمَا تُوعَدُونَ.
So every year the earth is getting heavier. Are you saying this?
Because it cannot get heavier, because if it's heavier,
will
it
fall
will
off
be,
on the
it will
orbit
be
maybe.
swallowed by the sun.
Yeah.
But you see, there is a balance. The earth loses, through volcanic activity, lots of its contained material. And this, if tilted, if this disturbs the balance between the mass of the earth and the mass of the sun, of course, we will receive more meteoric bodies. If the amount of loss from the earth is greater than the amount of meteoric bodies coming down to it, of course, either we fly away in outer space and lose the gravitational field of the sun and, of course, get lost, or we can be swallowed by the sun
So this has to
completely.
be specifically
precise.
planned.
Definitely.
Because
That's why, Professor, no human being can stop volcanoes and no human being can prevent
Nobody
meteorites.
can do anything about
Yeah.
it. Nobody.
Actually, the volcanoes are to the benefits of the human beings.
Oh, definitely.
Wow.
SubhanAllah.
You see, every process that takes place on the surface of that planet, although it may look destructive in its outer appearances, yet it is constructive in many ways. Volcanic eruptions, earthquakes, torrential currents, torrential rain, all these have got benefit in them. But of course it can be a means of punishment.
Right.
And that's why I say that every event that takes place on the surface of that planet can be either a punishment for ill-doers, for transgressors, for evildoers, can be a way of trial for good Muslims, and can be a reminder for those who are saved from it. And unless we take it in that context, we would not understand what's going around us. See, every